Hello, welcome to today's show. I'm Jacqueline Stockwell, CEO and founder at Leadership Through Data. I inspire and motivate information leaders across the world. I am super excited today to be joined by a colleague, Peter Rising, and he's a kindred spirit, as they say, who is doing exactly the same thing in the world of cybersecurity. Now, Peter is a senior partner cloud solution architect at Microsoft, a retired Microsoft MVP, and a celebrated author and a YouTuber. But if you follow his work, you'll know that he is more than a technical mastery is only half of his story. He is a fierce woman in tech ally, a mental health advocate, and a proud autism dad. He lives his values out loud, sharing his personal journey with Tourette syndrome to challenge our industry's idea of what a leader looks like. And he is chairing our upcoming panel at Experts Live, along with myself, Nikki, Evelyn, and an incredible lineup of women. So really looking forward to diverting into that security and compliance community. But today I've invited him here to talk about the man behind the architecture, which is all about my podcast. So welcome, Peter. I'm thrilled to have you. Now, Peter, you've spent decades in the Microsoft ecosystem as a cloud solution architecture. What is the biggest shift you've seen in how we approach security by design compared to 10 years ago?
Wow, great question. I mean, things change very, very quickly in this space, but over the last 10 years, I would have to say that since things moved into the cloud over that 10-year period, things have changed massively, because prior to cloud being where everyone was putting their content, their data, everything was very protected behind a firewall and on premises, which was very, very easy to do, but it wasn't so easy to protect the cloud because it's out there, it's all over the place. So it became a bit of a Wild West, but over time, controls and techniques have arisen that enable you to protect and govern your content when it's out there, when it's less in your control, so to speak. And I think that's the biggest change that I've seen. That's led to some good adoption of migrating data to the cloud, but also some ill-considered or not considered at all adoption of moving to the cloud, where many organizations kind of bury their head in the sand a little bit or a lot, and they don't do what they need to do. They don't do their homework before they move all that data and realize that it's a scary old place out there in that big worldwide cloud.
And it's one of those things that you can't just turn it on, right?
Yeah.
You have to actually plan for it and anticipate the things that are coming. So let's talk about Copilot. So I love Copilot, but there are some challenges with Copilot and the rise of Copilot and the automated security. Like, how do you see the role of the human expert changing? And are we becoming supervisors of AI? Or is the human element more critical than ever?
I think that the human element is just as important, if not more critical than ever, to your point there. And as somebody who is fortunate enough now to work at Microsoft, so I get access to all the shiny new technology quite quickly. So I've been using, as an example, I've been using co-work for quite a while now, and that has transformed the way that I work massively. It's enabling me to do a lot more things in a lot less time. A lot of what I do involves preparing PowerPoint decks, and it's changed my life, co-work, being able to tell it, right, this is what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, this is the audience, can you get me the right content for it? And it can do it in Microsoft format with the right look and feel and fonts and all that. But it can't do it all by itself. It needs that human trigger and then that input and refining along the way. So the human in the loop is really still very, very important, and I think will continue to be for longer than a lot of naysayers are predicting. I mean, I've from the very beginning historically been AI cautious rather than AI skeptic, shall we say, as long as it's in this era of generative AI rather than the scary AI that we see in movies that can become sentient and do all sorts of stuff, then I think we're good for a while. The key to it is keeping the human at the center of things, hence the name co-pilot, not pilot, and also being responsible about it and ethical. I think if we can do those things, then I think we're going to be okay for a good while yet anyway.
Yeah, and I definitely think that that is a really good point because there is some fear around AI taking over our jobs, and in some areas that is true, but certainly when it comes to information management, from our perspective, still need somebody to govern, still need somebody to instruct, still need somebody to sort of clean up data and
Yeah.
comply with the law. And I think they're the key things of the role that we hold that
Mm,
will always be there going forward. And at the end of the day, it is a piece of technology. And I've had the same experience of you, certainly being neurodivergent. I'm dyslexic, so it has definitely increased my productivity
mm,
using formats like that for creating things.
mm.
So let's talk about our upcoming event, which I'm really
Yeah.
excited about. So you're a key advocate in the Woman in Tech Alley. In your experience, what is the difference between passive support and active allyship in a
Mm.
corporate environment like in Microsoft?
Oh, that's a really great question. And for me, it's backing up what you say is the key to it and being consistent. I've seen so many examples over the years of fellow males who say that they're allies, but then they don't follow through with clear intent on that, and they will not call things out that need to be called out. I mean, I've seen so many examples where I've been in a group where the female present is the best qualified person to answer the question, but the question is directed to her male colleague who is perhaps not technical. And these sort of unconscious, hopefully unconscious, but sometimes conscious biases, I'm sure, still need to be challenged. So it's very, very easy to say that you're that you're an ally to women in tech, but showing up and demonstrating that and challenging the wrong behaviors is something that a lot of males fall short of doing. And I'm not shy to do that. If I see it, I'll call it out and say, "Hey, that's wrong. You need to do better there."
Yeah, agreed. And it's leading with your actions, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
rather than your words, it's absolutely leading with your actions because that'll give you conviction. And I think it's disappointing. I had Nikki on the show last week before, and she was saying obviously there's such a difference in the Microsoft MVPs. The women are
Mm,
very lower majority in terms of the MVPs. And you can see that across the whole of the tech industry as well. And some
mm,
parts in information management. So a lot of information leaders, as I say, are female, but it's whether they're going to be heard. And it's about building that credibility and visibility and, increasing that influence. So they are those trusted people that will actually listen to. So on our panel, it compromises, there's a wide range of, I think there's 5 of us, isn't there? So I'm really
yeah.
excited about it. And we're all kind of in women leadership roles. So we've got technology, we've got me, and yourself as the chair.
Mm.
So what are you most hoping to learn from our perspectives that might differ from a traditional male-dominated tech discussion?
I think that's a really good question, and I think what I always try and learn from any type of diversity across the spectrum, whether that's male versus female versus other genders versus neurodiversities, is every diversity for me has a unique perspective that they can bring to the table. The expertise can be the same, but the perspective that that diversity can bring is is very important because, I mean, generally speaking, men and women do think quite differently about a lot of things. So a man would not think of a certain perspective to bring to a technical conversation that a woman might think of. So I think that's where I'm always interested to hear things that I may not have thought of, and that, oh, that's a really good way of thinking about it. And that to me is one of the things that really frustrates me about why we're still having these conversations a quarter of the way through the 21st century, why this is even a topic that we need to bring up to highlight. It shouldn't be so, but we've still got so much work to do. And this is why I'm so passionate about being part of this and trying to encourage other males to come to the table and show up for this.
Yeah, 100%. And it takes you back to the human aspect of it, because we're all different. We all have different perspectives. We all lead different lives. And the way you're describing is exactly how I think. I think people are so interesting, and people are so think differently, and you can really enhance your own thinking by listening to someone else's perspective. And
Yeah.
I think if we can draw more males to that environment and listen to our perspective, that would be absolutely amazing. Now, you talked a lot about neurodiversity, and I really want to sort of delve a little bit further into that. So you're very open about having Tourette syndrome. How has being a public speaker and a leader with Tourette's changed your definition of what a professional looks like?
Massively, because it's something I'm very conscious of. Even right now, as I'm talking to you, I mean, I have good days and bad days with my Tourette's. And for the benefit of anyone listening, watching to this, my Tourette's manifests itself in facial tics and twitches. At its worst, it will be things like sudden head jerks, like that one, which I kind of did on purpose there, but kind of was natural as well. But so it's always something I'm very, very aware of in terms of how it's impacting myself, although I am very, very used to it and able to deal with it on a day-to-day basis, but also how other people perceive me. I'm going to say 100% response to it over the years has been massively positive. Nobody's ever really said anything about it or commented on it, but I'm very upfront about it. I'll say, if you notice me twitching or doing a strange thing with my eyes or whatever, or my face like that's what it is, and I'm fine about it. And if you want to ask me questions about it, do so. But funny thing is, when I'm speaking, quite often when I'm up on a stage and giving a talk, I'm less aware of it for the most part. It seems to be very, very random how it manifests itself. I think it is more prominent when I'm excited or passionate about something or nervous about something. So in a way, I take it as a good thing, because I think those things are good emotions to have about anything that you apply yourself to, because it shows that you care. But it is difficult to live with, and I do worry. There goes one there. I do worry that I'm going to damage my neck or something like that. I have started medication for it recently. I've tried that before with not so great results, but I'm giving it another try lately. I'm a couple of weeks into it, so we'll see where we get to with that. But it's part of the cocktail of my makeup, my DNA that makes me me, I guess. So I don't resent it. I just go with the flow with it.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing, and very drawn to you because you're so open about it. When I first started, I didn't get diagnosed until I was 21 with dyslexia, and then felt, oh, I should keep that hidden. And until I started my business, I've been very proud that I'm dyslexic. Recently found I've got ADHD, and I'm very much the same as you. Somebody asked me to take notes. I said, I'll put my hand up to chair a meeting, but I won't take notes. And also my ADHD gets a lot more when I'm excited as well. So I'll start to talk a lot quicker. So, but I think they're really unique things that we can embrace. And I think it just makes us the most amazing people that we can actually say, yeah, hey, I am neurodiverse. This is me. But I bring so many wonderful things that come with the neurodiversity that other people just don't. And having researched a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, they run their own business, they also have ADHD and dyslexia. So And having people on the podcast such as yourself, I've seen a lot of people in the information management industry to say, oh, hey, I think I've got dyslexia, or I've got ADHD. I'm really enjoying your posts. And it's kind of empowering other people to accept that as their norm, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So I think that the advocate that you are being is truly sensational and it's phenomenal. So please continue to do so.
thank you.
You're welcome. So people often call neurodivergent as a superpower in technology. So you are an autism dad and someone with Tourette's, as you said. Do you find that framing helpful, or do we need to talk more about the actual challenges and workplace accommodations that need to be put in place for us?
I think discussion about the challenges and what needs to be put in place is definitely needed, because I think it's become very easy to make sweeping generalizations like that. All too often you'll see that this or that as a superpower, and for some people it might be, but not everybody's the same. It's a massive, massive spectrum of things that can affect us all, our unique mixture of what we're made up of and our motives and our ideas and intentions and whatnot. So it's not as simple as applying broad brushstrokes to it. So I think employers, organizations do need to be very, very mindful that they're taking care of people in the right way with the right intent, and they are listening to the needs of people with different neurodiversities. It's all too easy to put people in brackets or say it's, well, that's a superpower, or they're very lucky if you're a person with autism who has a 100% recall photographic memory, that sort of thing. It's every person matters and every person is unique. And it's hard for employers to cater for everything, because it seems like there is a massive spectrum of things that we can talk about now. If you think about autism and ADHD and Tourette's, and there's so many other things, all very, very worthy of being heard, and education being in place for them. But just because it's hard, it shouldn't be a barrier to organizations realizing they've got a responsibility, a duty of care to their employees to make the workplace as accessible and as safe and as open for everyone.
Yeah, agreed. And it goes back to that thing we were saying about AI and us being human and the human element of it.
Mm,
You know, with the human element of it and the AI technology, it can really all be brought together. So that's brilliant. And I completely agree with that. It's just around employees sitting down, having
mm,
conversations, understanding who the person is and what support or accommodations that they can make. So let's talk about cybersecurity. So
yeah.
cybersecurity is a huge burnt out field. So you're a mental
Mm.
health advocate. What is your non-negotiable habit for staying grounded when the threat landscape gets overwhelming?
Oh, my non-negotiable is definitely having clear boundaries, of switching off, of context switching. I've not always been great at that, but I'm learning. As everyone else on this planet, I'm a work in progress. So I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm learning to improve myself and grow with everything that I do. So I'm trying, and I'm broadly speaking succeeding, having that context switching and saying, right, it's time to shift context now from work to home. I need to be there for my wife and my two sons, depending if they're both at home. My oldest is off at university a lot of the time, but he's camped back at home right now as his term has ended. So, I mean, there are occasions when work emergencies will intrude. I'm fortunate, and the role that I'm in now is very, very evangelistic. So I'm not going to be in the type of security where I'm being asked to respond to a drastic incident. So um, I'm not going to have hours and hours of my time taken away by a customer who's hit with an incident or whatnot. So I'm very fortunate there. But that's my non-negotiable today, making sure that I'm thinking about the right things at the right time.
I love that. And I love the fact that you're acknowledging that you're learning every day and making
Mm.
improvements every day. I
Mm.
think that's just insanely wonderful. My daughter said about going to school this morning, and I said, "Well, I don't need to go to school." She said, "Oh, my teacher says every day is a school day, so you
Oh yeah.
should be going to school." So I just think that that's just so good. So every day is a school day. So let's talk about your book. So what is your book?
Wow. Well, just behind me, you can see some of them because I've actually done four. And the first one I wrote was during pandemic times. I agreed to. I had the typical imposter syndrome when a publisher reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, "We've seen you've taken this Microsoft exam. We'd like a book about it. Can you write it for us?" And I was like, "No, you don't mean me, do you?" But they did, and so I did it with lots of help from them, and I was very, very proud because writing a book was always something on my bucket list of things I wanted to do. I never imagined it would be a technical book. I always thought it would be some sort of fiction or something else, but a technical book it was, and very, very proud of it. And then I wrote a second edition of that book, and then two other books about Microsoft Teams as well, exam guides for the most part. And I co-wrote one of them with a former Microsoft MVP. I don't think he's an MVP still these days, but a lovely, lovely guy called Nate Chamberlain, based in the US. Knows his stuff about SharePoint, Teams, that sort of things, those sort of things. Great guy. Really enjoyed working with him. And after doing four of them, I thought, wow, I don't want to write again for a while. I'm burned out with the writing process because there's a lot goes into it. It took 9 months to write that first one. And of course, the challenge is the technology doesn't wait for you to write it. So you keep on having to adjust certain things as you go because the content changes. So yeah, I thought, and maybe we'll come on to this in a minute, but I thought I fancy doing video content now. It's easier to do, and I'm more focused on that right now. I might go back to writing again at some point. Never say never is my philosophy. Never rule anything in or out. But for now, it's off the table, having done a lot of it over the past sort of 5 or so years.
Yeah, great. So having written a book myself, I've got the publishing bug to writing it, but it's a big endeavor, isn't it? So
Yes.
it's on the card to add another 7 to mine. But it's really that sort of challenge. But tell me more about your YouTube channel then. So you've gone from writing books to
Mm,
video.
yeah. So it's kind of my second YouTube channel. I started one again in pandemic times with a very dear friend called Rue Campbell, who's a Microsoft MVP, and he's doing great things over at Threatscape, a great Microsoft partner. And he and I wanted to do we called it Cloud Conversations, where we did things like this. We invited guests on and chatted to them about mainly the tech and what their expertise was and how they could help people to share their knowledge, but also the personal side of things as well, if they were comfortable talking about it. And we added some people into the group over time. Again, it's something I'm very proud that it started off two blokes who were friends and worked together doing something, and I said we could grow this a bit, and I'd really like to add in some female hosts as well, and we did. We ended up adding Kat Beedham, who is head of AI at CPS, and she brought a really great new dynamic to the channel. We added in Azure McFarlane, based in the USA. She is also now at Microsoft. She was an MVP at the time, very, very dear friend. And latterly, and very briefly, the absolute superstar of the Netherlands, Femke Cornelissen, who is, if you follow her on LinkedIn, she does so much. She's a real inspiration to women in tech, and doing great things at Wortel in the Netherlands, another good partner. So that led me to want to do my own thing, just my own channel. So we haven't done Cloud Conversations for a few years now. We've never actually said that we stopped it. We might bring it back one day. It's there. The channel's there if we ever want to come back to it. So we might. But I wanted to do a bit more techie focused content, me sort of helping people to understand what's new and what's top of mind with Microsoft security. It's all Microsoft focused. And I get a real buzz out of doing that because the content that I share is I've done a few exam guide series on there, and I aim to educate others, but again, also learn things myself as I go, because some subjects I take on that I think are relevant, I'm thinking, well, I need to know this and I can learn it and then share it. So I'm learning as I go sometimes. So it's been great getting amazing reactions from people on the channel over the last 3 years. I think the channel's been going. 3 years I've been doing it. And people will say some lovely things. They'll say, oh, you helped me pass this exam. One person said I helped them to get a job, which was, wow, amazing.
Wow.
I mean, you get the odd troll on there saying rubbish things, but that just shows that you're growing. Somebody told my dear friend Andy Malone, who's got an amazing YouTube channel. He's been going years and years and years, and he's on 300,000 subscribers now, I think, and well earned. He's been doing it much longer than me. He said, you're doing something right if you're getting the odd troll on there. Just ignore them, the haters. But it's been such a rewarding journey. I've learned so much, and I look back at my early videos, and I've learned so much about the process as well of filming and proper microphones and where I'm sat for when I'm on camera and all that. And I've got so much to learn still. And I mean, one of the reasons for doing it as well, as much as anything at the time, was I was a Microsoft MVP. As you said, I'm retired now because when you join Microsoft, you have to give that up. And it was a way of keeping my MVP going because you have to renew that every year and show that you earned to be renewed. But when I joined Microsoft, there was no way I was ever going to give it up because I enjoy doing it so much and I enjoy the process of keeping my learning going and helping others. So it's just been so great doing YouTube. I would recommend it to anyone. And if you have any doubts about it, if you think, oh, I want to do YouTube, I want to do a podcast, I don't know how to get started, just don't overthink it. Just do it, try it, and learn as you go, would be my advice.
Yeah, 100%. Every day's the school day. So, Peter, I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for your time today. So I just want to leave you on this last question. So behind the books, behind the podcast and the advocacy, behind your Microsoft MVP, what do you want your stamp on the tech industry to be 10 years from now?
Wow. I would love, there I go again with the Tourette's, but I would love to be regarded as, or remembered as, however you want to think of it, as somebody who cared, who tried to make a difference, who was there to listen to others and understand their challenges and try and help where I can to make a difference in people's lives. That means a lot to me to be able to try and help and enable others. And I will continue to try and do so as long as I have the time and the space to do so.
Amazing. Well, I think you've already achieved that, Peter. So well done to you. How can listeners reach out to you if they want to listen to your YouTube channel or chat some more?
Yeah, so YouTube, I am Peter Rising M365, very easy to find. LinkedIn is the other best way to find me. Just search for my name, a very distinct name, Peter Rising. I'm not hard to find. Feel free to connect and message. I'm always happy to hear from people. I do get a lot of messages on LinkedIn in particular. I do always reply to everyone unless you're trying to sell me something. But if you genuinely reach out and you want to chat about something, I'll always reply. It might just take me a little time sometimes because I get a lot of messages. LinkedIn and YouTube. I don't have any other socials.
Thank you so much, Peter. It's been phenomenal for your time today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for listening to the Journals of the Information Entrepreneur with me, Jacqueline Stockwell. I hope you found this episode inspiring and helpful and have some takeaway tips that can be useful to you. If you liked this episode, please like, review and share it with your friends. Your support helps us reach more information leaders to stay inspired and listen to great content. Want to test out your strengths and weaknesses and measure it against our Empower framework? Please complete the scorecard. It's a great way to improve and evaluate your skills. You can find the scorecard at the end of the description of this podcast. Stay tuned for a new podcast every Thursday, and remember to be bold, be brave and be beautiful.